Alright, the next character we see in the movie is Blake, Officer Blake, which, in my opinion, was sort of the weakest character in the movie. I mean, he has some pretty good parts in there, uh, but he sort of kind of was mixed in there and was sort of, to me, he was sort of just a character just to set up for the ending. Which the ending was sort of controversial. Uh, you know, Officer Blake, in the movie turns out to be this pretty cool guy, who does a lot of things and stuff like that, who displays some pretty super heroic things in the movie. And in the end, we find out, well, we find in the movie that he's adopted, but in the end, we find out his real name, and it's Robin. Yay! Um, I mean, to a lot of people, it was pretty cool to see, hey, this guy was really Robin. But it wasn't really the Robin that we wanted, but it was, a plug-in, or a little Easter egg for Robin. But the big question is in the movie, at the end, the big controversy in the movie, was he gonna be Robin, or was he gonna be Nightwing? Because a lot of people like Nightwing, and he fits Nightwing pretty well. Or was he going to be the combination of Nightwing and Batman? Since again, spoiler warning, he gets the mantle of Batman in the movie, or he inherits all of Bruce's things, or inherits all of Batman's mantle. So the big controversy was who's Blake actually being for the taking up the mantle as far as protector of Gotham. Is he going to be Robin, or was he going to be Nightwing, or was he going to be Batman? We kind of left on a cliffhanger, and was left with some big unanswered question as far as that concerned. Um, my personal opinion is that he's is going to be a combination of both Batman and Nightwing. Since he fit more of the Nightwing persona, much older, um, didn't, looked up to Bruce, but wasn't really considered a psychic, more of an equal. And just kind of, to me, he just fit Nightwing more perfectly than Robin. Robin was more of a younger protege, more of a teenage protege, and was taken in more of uh, the crime fighter type of thing. Nightwing, he just kind of fits as, I already know this game. I'm gonna, get, get to fighting crime, and I don't need Batman to help me out or to show me the ropes because I've already gone through that. And to me, he just fits that well, and I think he's more of the combination of Batman and Nightwing. But we'll see in the next movie if he's gonna stick with Bruce, or he's gonna go with Tim, or Robin, I should say. All right, the next character we see in the movie is Miranda, who is played by, I hope I don't butcher this name, uh, Maria Cataliard, somewhere around there. I don't know. I can't pronounce her name, but anyway, she kind of plays Bruce's love interest in the movie, and she kind of fits that well. But the big shocker at the end of the movie, again, spoiler warning. It wasn't really much of a spoiler. If you're a Batman fan, you already saw this coming. Since the moment you saw her, she's not actually Miranda. She's actually Talia Al Ghul, which is the daughter of um, Ra's al Ghul, the villain from the first movie. Uh, like I said, if you read the comics and if you were paying attention to the movie at all, you knew from the minute you saw her and the minute you heard the story about Bane and the whole thing with him, you knew from the second you saw her, you're like, that's not Rach's offspring. she's Talia Al Ghul. She's the one that's been planning this whole thing, and it's very. It wasn't really a shocker, but to a lot of people, it was a shocker because like, oh my god, she was really Talia Al Ghul. I'm like, no, yeah, I already knew that. It was pretty much planned from the beginning. As soon as they said the League of Shadows, you're like, oh yeah, that's Talia Al Ghul. So, not much of a shocker. I'm guessing Christopher Nolan was kind of going for that, but I already knew. I mean, the people who read the comics already knew that. So, not a big shocker. But they did kind of keep he did kind of keep the whole Batman Talia Al Ghul relationship going. Although it wasn't really, it was sort of the reverse. It wasn't Batman she was in love with. She was in love with Bruce, or they had more of a relationship, and Batman was more considered the enemy. So it wasn't much of a love triangle or a love-hate relationship between them. It was more of like, I'm using you type of relationship, and I'm going to do everything necessary to accomplish my goal. So there was a hint of that, but in the comics you see that Talia refers to, Batman or Bruce as beloved, and they believe that they're destined to be with each other. In the movie we don't see that, which is kind of sad. I kind of wanted to see that played out a little bit, but we don't get to see that, which I'm okay with. Every director is going to have a different interpretation of a character and where they want to go with the movie. So as far as Christopher Nolan's take on Talia goes, I'm okay with it. But I would love to see that little more love thing. I mean, I guess I can see where he was trying to go. He didn't want to create a love triangle between Selena and Talia, or Miranda, as she's well known in the first movie. But it was good for the character. But I would love to see more of Talia, actual Talia, in the movie than just, oh my gosh, last second, yeah, you're Talia Ali. That was kind of a letdown. So, all right, the franchise as a whole. The franchise as a whole was excellent. By far the best trilogy of superhero movies so far. I mean, I'm not going to say ever because we don't know. Because as far as comic book movies goes, they're topping each other summer after summer after summer. So right now, this is the best trilogy. Right now. Time will only tell if it's the best trilogy ever. We don't know how far along the road we'll be able to say it's the best trilogy ever. But maybe someday soon, 10, 20 years from now, we'll be able to say it's the best trilogy ever. But right now, I'm saying it's the best trilogy we have so far. Where are we going to see this franchise go? Because the reboot of this franchise is going to happen. Pretty much already been confirmed. But we don't know who's going to play Batman, or if they're going to even stick with Bruce, or if they're going to go with this new Blake/Robin character. We don't know if they're just going to go reboot it back to where Bruce is at in the beginning, where Batman Begins. In my opinion, that's a really bad idea, because Batman Begins already tells the origin story perfectly. You don't need to beat it to death and, leave it as is. Just going along with another Batman story. We already know how Batman turns, and Bruce turns into Batman, and just leave it at that. For the next set of movies, who are going to be the villains? Are we going to see another Joker? Are we going to see another Bane? Are we going to see Catwoman again? Scarecrow? How about villains we haven't seen yet? So it's like Killer Croc, or a Penguin, or a reboot of Penguin, or Riddler, another reboot of Riddler. We don't know yet. So many different villains we could get to see, get to choose from, and we haven't seen yet. Now the big question after this movie happened, and it's the new Superman movie that's going to come out. Are we going to see a Justice League movie? That's the big question, because now that we've established Batman, now that Superman's going to be rebooted, and hopefully we get to see a really good Superman movie this time, will the Justice League be far behind? Because with the success of the Avengers movie, it's possible the Justice League will happen, but I kind of doubt it, because we've heard many times before that Justice League was in the works, then it got canned, then they're talking about doing it again. It's possible, but as far as licensing goes, who's going to get paid, who's going to be the actors, and going to be directing it, and the actors, who fits the characters more. If we see a Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern again, you could pretty much tank the movie, because you need believable characters in a comic book movie to make it happen. Ryan Reynolds was not believable enough for me for Green Lantern. He'd probably make a better Flash, but not a Green Lantern. Will we see the same actors play Batman and Superman again in the Justice League movie? We don't know. Who's going to be Wonder Woman? That's the big one. Who's going to be Wonder Woman? Because Wonder Woman is such an iconic character. And who's going to be the other Justice League members? Are we going to see Green Arrow? Are we going to see Speedy? We don't know yet. Aquaman, we just don't know yet. But only time will tell. So we'll see you guys. Bye.